Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame. Thank you so much for dropping by my channel. I always appreciate all the love and support that I get. So I just want to say, hey, I hope y'all are having a good one and thank you again. So let's get into the video. Y'all, on this episode of Insecure, they started out showing Issa and Lawrence bonding, having sex like crazy, and looking like a whole couple out here. And I'm just like, okay, what is going on? Are y'all a couple or no? So it gets to the point where even Issa is like, what is this? And he asks her, what do you want it to be? And I'm like, what? What is we doing? Like, y'all need to tell me what happened between him and Condola. Like, what does she want? I really feel like the heifer pregnant, or she want him back, or a combination of both, and I'm not here for either. Um, yeah. Every waking moment, they just kept showing scene after scene. They were together, having sex, doing everything next to each other or whatever. So then, eventually, her phone went off because she got a message from Nathan, and he was like, "Oh, who's that?" And she was like, "Oh, I don't know. Let me see." She checked her phone. It was a message from Nathan, and she was supposed to help Nathan do something. And she was like, she took a moment where she was like, "All right, let me go ahead and be forthcoming. Let me go ahead and say what I need to say, because I don't need nothing to be misconstrued depending on what we gonna be. I ain't trying to sit up here and get caught up." So she ended up saying to him, like, "Hey, do you remember my friend Nathan?" And he was being, I'm pretty sure, very serious when he was like, "Are you talking about a person or are you talking about an artist? Because I don't think I ever heard of this person before." But she was like, "Nah, it's a person. It's a guy who's my friend, and I've dated him before. But, we're just friends now, and I just wondered if you knew who he was, but he wanted me to help him with something." And, she was just trying to make sure that it was okay, or, if he had a problem with it, then she would just politely say, "Well, I can't, deal with that or hang out with you or do anything with you anymore." So he was like, "Oh, well, no, do what you got to do." So they end up going and showing Molly. And Molly is at her therapy session, which she has been in desperate need of and should have never stopped going to. And she's talking and discussing her feelings about Issa and everybody else all around her, especially outside of Issa. She's referring to her boyfriend's brother and just anybody like that's a part of her past. Dro, y'all know how I feel about Dro. But this heifer is in her feelings to the point of where she just really feels like Issa is just dead wrong. And everybody's so wrong. And I'm tired of being the bigger person. And I'm like, girl, how are you the bigger person when you expect everybody to bow down to you? Everybody has to come to you first. You didn't expect all this out of all these trash dudes that you let bust wide open, tell them bring it back. I don't understand why you expect the world from Issa. Like, I don't understand. Maybe I'm wrong. Now, I just don't understand. I still to this day do not understand how Issa was so dead wrong and was just so negative. What I don't understand the negativity that is surrounding this block party situation. Why she feels so slighted. I'm just like, girl, why you in your feelings? Y'all already were having issues long before that. So you just, to me, it just seems like this is just more of a reason for her to be like, let me use this as my scapegoat. Because it's like, why are you mad? Why are you mad? You didn't come to her aid like you normally do. And when I get to the end of this, y'all will understand why I said that the way I said it. It seems like she's mad that Issa didn't come crawling to her. I'm like, okay, first of all, she already did. She came to you. You were like, "Nah, I'm in this relationship. I don't want to ask my man for a favor for you." And it just is what it is. So when she went out and did what she did, which was she talked to the person who at the time was the roommate to her man, and he ended up putting in a good word for her and got some talent to come out to her event. Now you mad. Like, you were having an amazing time. Y'all seemed like y'all were getting on the same page again. And as soon as you found out that your man had a hand in that, you got mad. Like, so mad that people like dispersed and created a situation that was like basically the way that the people reacted when that woman said, "Somebody got a gun," and all this other stuff when nobody had a gun. You created a situation where there was not a situation. And I'm just like, why? Y'all, anyway, she deep in her feelings. Even her man Andrew was looking at her like, yeah. Y'all, anyway, she has gone to her therapy session, and while she's in her therapy session, I guess she has her phone off or on silent, and she's not paying attention to her phone. Issa is at home contemplating, who she wants to call. She calls Kelly. Kelly's busy. She needed some advice on something because she's back dating or, whatever she's trying to figure out as far as what is going on with her and Lawrence. And she needed some advice. Kelly wasn't available. She left a message. She, was looking through her phone trying to figure out all the people who she wanted to try to call. And she envisioned herself calling Molly. And Molly answered the phone. And she was talking to her and was like, yeah, you're the only person that I could talk to because you are my best friend and you're the only person I could think of that I could call and talk to about this situation. I'm kind of back dating Lawrence. Like, she basically was like spilling everything out, and they had it where it made it look like Molly was like, yeah, of course you would call me with this. Typical Issa. It's all about you. And they made it seem like she was going off, but this is just what Issa envisioned was going to happen. So she was like, yeah, I'm going to call her, but whether I get her or not, I'm not going to say all that. So she ended up getting a voicemail because, like I said, Molly was actually in her therapy session. And she was like, hey, Molly, I just wanted to see if you want to link up and talk. So after she got out of her therapy session, she checked her messages and she heard that it was from Issa, and she actually agreed to meet up with her. So they ended up meeting up at this diner, and they were talking, and it seemed like it went well. They did not discuss the block party, and I mean, they really had what seemed to be an amazing time. I felt like it was a great stepping stone in the right direction. Sometimes you got to start light and then, work your way up. And I felt like that's the way that Issa was trying to go. Well, later on in the episode, we find out that's not the way Molly took it. And I'm just like, girl, can't nobody win for losing when it come to you. Like, can't nobody do nothing right in your eyes. Like, girl, But anyway. So, Lawrence is still doing what he wants to do. And he's trying to figure out what he's going to do as far as the job in San Francisco. And Issa is now meeting with vendors and all this other stuff, trying to get her next event off the ground. She met up with the girl who she did the assisting with, who actually was the assistant for her when she did the block party, and they were doing a wellness thing. I actually thought it was so cute. As soon as I saw her leave out of the place where they were doing the wellness, I guess she was trying to get somebody together so that they could do a wellness event. And I think they were like possibly like a clinic or something. It really reminded me of the old days when Issa was not really known. She would have like 1,000 views or whatever when she had Awkward Black Girl and all that stuff. Like, I'm talking about, when I tell you I was beyond happy for her when she finally took off the way she did. Like, when she finally did pop off, I was like, oh my gosh, I was there from the beginning. But yeah, when I saw that scene, it really reminded me of like the different things that they would do within that actual show of hers. They would do like wellness checks and people going to see if, do checks to see if they have AIDS, and just random wellness checks anyway. Stuff like that, it really did remind me of how it was when she had her other show. But yeah, I was like, okay then, girl. But yeah, she was like, she actually has secured like 2 juicing companies to help with the event. And they're trying to get, I think that they secured somebody to do where they can exercise, do cycling or something like that. Y'all can write me down in the comment section. Y'all know how I get. But yeah, she already has some stuff, but she just does not have a space like that. So y'all excuse me, my eyes are irritated for whatever reason. But everything seems to be going well. And I was just like, I'm just so happy for her. But yeah, so she was going to get in her car. And she ended up calling Lawrence to check on him to see how he was doing. Y'all, the way that they go back and forth, it is hilarious to me. Like the way they vibe. I'm telling you, some people are just meant to be together, or they are meant to be friends. I just cannot. So she did that little song that used to come on. I think that they used to have somebody sing this song for Rice-A-Roni, talking about the San Francisco treat. And he was like, what are you talking about? And so she said Rice-A-Roni, and he said something about hamburger helper. And it made it seem people kill me. Wait a minute. Any of y'all on here, or any of y'all subscribe to anything that Long Beach Griffey does? He does very, very dark comedy. Like very dark. Even though I feel like within my heart, my soul, deep down, I feel like he is not here for a lot of the stuff that he puts out there. He goes very, very dark, like super dark. But he has a thing where he'll do like the people do who are like gang members, and like if they are from certain parts of California, where he tells some cuh. She says something like that to him. And I don't know what it is. When people say that, it is like they try to sound hard. It kills me. I don't know what it is. But anyway, she said cuh and all that stuff. You know, that's gang related or whatever. But yeah, she was being silly in that moment, and they had a moment where they were going back and forth being silly. And, you know, she was like, well, how did everything go? And he said, well, everything, you know, went exceptionally well. So he might actually be getting that job in San Francisco, which will leave her, you know, either she gonna move with him, you know, they gonna need to really define what their relationship is, because you can't just be out here starting something and then y'all don't know what y'all gonna do, which is what they've done. And I'm just like, come on now. Y'all done got too old for this. So they get off the phone talking to each other and all that good stuff. Molly then went and met up with Andrew at his place, and he was like, well, how did the meeting go? And she was like, it went fine. And I mean, I thought she was going, you know, be happy. This heifer salty. She was like, I mean, I guess it just is what it is. It was, you know, we talked about old times and whatever, but I was just like, girl, you ain't satisfied about nothing. Like baby steps. Like, I feel like Issa, even before she said it, I felt like Issa was kind of trying to assess the situation. And since they have been best friends for quite some time, she kind of knows how you are. Later on in the episode, she says to her that she's trying to, you know, she was kind of trying to gauge the situation and trying to let her cool off because she knows how she is. But anyway, y'all. So Andrew was like, you know, do you think that you're like overreacting, or do you think you're overthinking it? Like, maybe it's not what you're thinking that it is. And she just ain't here for nothing. And I'm like, Lord, girl, you can't nobody satisfy you. So Issa, a part of what she was supposed to be doing after she was done scouting places and doing what she was doing for herself, she was supposed to go and help Nathan unbox some stuff because he moved. So he moved out. Him and Andrew don't live together anymore. And so she popped up over there, and when she got buzzed in, she was trying to think of how she needed to approach him, because they had this kind of like cool, but you know, it can be a little bit like flirty relationship because they aren't like dating anymore. So she was trying to assess the situation before she even got to his door. Like, how should I even approach him? Like, hey, what's up, like, what's going on? Hi, buddy. What's going on there? And as soon as she got to the door, he was trying to like hug her. And for me, like, that's normal. For me, whether I'm in a relationship or not, I love hugs. I don't see a problem with hugs. As long as another man, if I'm hugging another man and I have a man, I mean, really, basically, whether I'm in a relationship or not, as long as you ain't hugging me and trying to grip butt cheeks and be disrespectful and all that, it ain't that deep. Like, it's not. Like, I had an ex to get mad because a genuine pastor hugged me. Like somebody who has no interest in me at all hugged me. And I mean, it was literally a church hug. It wasn't like somebody who was related to me. Like I had an uncle who was now deceased. When he would hug me, he was a pastor and he worked for a morgue and he um, was a traveling musician. Like he did all kinds of stuff. When he would hug me like for real, like big, deep hugs or whatever. It wasn't like that. It was literally a church hug. He got mad about that. It's like, why are you mad about that? He got mad about me saying that I wish that I knew that Obama was in North Carolina when I lived in North Carolina, that I wish I had known that he was coming because I would have been at the function that he was at because it was free to the public. I would have gotten there early, and I would have gotten in there so early that I would have been at the forefront of where he was, where him and his family was going to speak. I would have been able to hug all of them. And so I mentioned something about how, oh my gosh, I wish I had been there. I would have got a hug. Because he went through the crowd. Him and his family went through the crowd hugging everybody and having like side conversations with people. And they were recorded. I was so mad because I would have been able to talk to him. I would have had a picture taken. I was mad. He got mad about that. It's like, what? Y'all, I can't. You cannot sit up there and just harbor whatever because of that. But she really was like, okay, I'm sorry, y'all. I know I got a little off track, but I said all that to say this. You can hug somebody. Long as he wasn't about to try to kiss all up on you and do the most and grab butt cheeks, it ain't that deep. So she went inside. They were unboxing stuff, and you could tell he was kind of trying to get a little close. And then she was like, you know, I don't know if I should tell you this or not, but me and my ex were kind of seeing each other again. And so you could tell that he, you know, likes her more than a friend. So when she said that, he kind of walked off and was like, so you talking about the ex that you cheated on? And so she was like, yeah. And so he was like, man, like he was reading. Like he was telling the truth, but he was reading. He was like, well, I hope he got his stuff together. And hopefully you know what you're doing. And like, it was crazy, but it was true. But after that moment passed, he was like, well, don't be trying to sit up here and think you ain't finna keep unboxing some stuff because I still need your help despite what you think going on here. So, you know, I was glad that he was able to break the ice. But before that even ended, y'all, she got so offended because, you know, of everything he was saying about him, which was true. She was like, at least he doesn't run away from things. Lord, Nathan had to tell her that he's bipolar. I said, Lord, I thought they'd actually gotten through to that. I don't know why. I thought they'd already gotten through that. I thought they'd already discussed that, but they just didn't show it to us. That's what I thought happened. I thought that when Molly found out that all the time that they'd been reconnecting, that she'd already been privy to that information, but apparently not. So he was like, I didn't just run away. When I told you that I was depressed, it was more than that. So when I went home to Texas, I think he was in Houston. He said, when I went back to Houston, when I went home, I found out that I'm bipolar, and that's why. So she was like, oh man, I'm sorry. You know, I didn't know any of that or whatever. And he was like, look, don't be sorry. I'm glad that I found out. I needed to understand what was going on, and I'm glad that I found out, and it is what it is. So they went on about their business. So apparently he has some more stuff at the house that he needed to get. And since Andrew and Molly were at the house, they walked in and it was kind of awkward. And they made it into a thing because Issa was like, yeah, let's get this stuff and go. But Molly was like, oh, well, y'all don't have to rush or whatever. So they ended up staying. She had brought food and they seemed to be having a good time. And they were playing this drinking game that Issa made up where you had to guess the height of the celebrity. And if you got it wrong, you had to drink. So they were in the middle of doing that. Andrew got up to go and get some more alcohol, which was, I guess, wine or something, or champagne. This heifer Molly gonna text him or think she's texting him saying, see, I'm trying to get along with Issa or whatever. She sends the message to Issa. And Issa is looking like, huh, okay. And texted her back and was like, yeah, I don't think this was meant for me. The heifer gets the message and Andrew comes back and Issa was like, yeah, I think I'm done. I'm going to go now. This heifer runs after her and was like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, that wasn't meant for you. And she was like, yeah, I know. Issa has like quickly summoned a Lyft driver and all that to get out of that situation. And she was like, look, I'm sorry, I haven't been honest with you. I haven't been talking to you about what I really want to talk about. And so she was like, okay, well, let's address it then. So she was like, obviously you want to talk about the block party. So, okay, what you want to talk about? So she was like, it's more than just the block party. Y'all, it was just so stupid. Like, I was just so done. She was just like, look, I can't do it. And it was just to the point where Issa was like, you know what? I ain't got time. I ain't got time, because you always want to make it seem like I got to jump through all these hoops. I got to set it off. I was trying. Issa was looking at her like, I'm trying. So she was like, well, I don't think, Molly was on her basically looking like, well, I don't feel like you did nothing. I hope you don't think you did something by us just going out to eat. Like, that wasn't nothing. We've had issues for months. And so Issa was like, I know that. And I know how you operate. I know you're still in your feelings or whatever. It's been a while. And I'm trying to feel you out. I'm trying to see what I need to do. I'm trying to let you cool off. I'm just like, girl. And so she was like, well, I guess it just is what it is. And, I've tried. And Molly kind of, made it seem like it is what it is. So when Issa said, okay, and Issa didn't try to fight her on what she was saying, Molly gonna get in her feelings. She was like, really? I'm like, girl, what you talking about really for? People are tired. Why you think somebody want to sit up there and just run after you like a lost puppy day in and day out? I'm so glad that Issa has grown. Even though it is hurting her, you could tell that it is a situation that is really hurting her. Heifer, get you a life. I'm tired. But anyway, y'all, I'm sorry. I got to get off here. Y'all have a good one. Bye.